She walks the girl with a hip sure sway. Not cocky, not cop a look at me, just fearless, or couldn't care less. Easy game. Jez eases himself away from the wall, out of the shadows, to settle into a rhythm behind her. He's walking quiet, but he can hear the mouse squeak of trainer soles. Needs a new pair. Needs a pair, not Nike fakes. He waits for her to flick a look behind, waits for her head to hunker down, disappearing into the shell of her jacket. Watches for her hand to clutch her bag, waiting for her steps to quicken into a power walk, trying to look like she's just wanting to get on home, trying to look like she ain't afraid. Only this one don't do any of the stuff. Her head's high, her hair's loose, flapping like a scarf in the breeze, looking like she's got all the time in the world, in excess of that stuff, so much of it that she's scattering it all around her like brightly minted coins. Jez pulls himself back. No point catching up too quick. He knows the subway with their twists and forks and exits. Knows the corners and the lights that flicker. Knows the dampest, piss-stench spot, the point where you're least likely to find traffic. The point she's heading for. She should know better. And no one told her she shouldn't walk home late at night. Not on her own. Not on an evening when the rain and wind have driven people indoors, cozying themselves up to their supersized TVs and fake fireplaces. He's edging closer. His heels squeak. Hers echo brave and strong. It ain't anything to him. Scared, not scared. He'll get what's due. A kind of tariff for walking his tunnels. For the fact that with her smart coat and dancing steps, she's got it better than him. He's homing in, needs to focus. His hands grasp the knife in his pocket. He cops a closer glimpse of her as she turns the corner through a pool of jaundiced light. Pretty. Not as young as she was supposing. More woman than girl. Like he cares. She disappears, but only momentarily. It's him turning now. They're heading to his Lucky Charm spot. He likes doing things to a pattern. 10 lights in from the corner. He's counting. 10, 9, 3, 2. Except quick as a flick, she stops and swivels around. Her eyes look right at him, and he knows that she's known all along that he was there. He pulls his cap down further. She's standing still and straight, and he's at a standstill too, looking at her, looking at him. Can only be a second, but feels much longer. She reminds him of someone, that boldness in her look. It ain't supposed to go like this. He's lost the momentum. Are you following me? She asks, like she just wants to know. His hand is deep in his pocket, his fingers curving around the handle, his thumb feeling for the lever and itching to pull. He tries to stare her out. The two of them are in the space between lamps, and her face is in the shadow, and his will be soon too. Light flickers off the moist surface of her eyes. It's just, she continues, I'm not very good at judging these things, so I thought I'd ask. Her words echo brave like her steps. She continues staring. Her eyes cast down, so he figures he's won. Only he don't quite know what to do with it. The steel in his pocket feels warm and alive. But, she carries on, that same even tone. I'm sorry if I got this wrong. Perhaps you're just heading somewhere too. The woman smiles. Not a terror-stricken trying to placate him smile. A friendly type smile. He draws his hand from his pocket and presses on the lever, thrilling to the flick of the blade. Cash, he spits out the word. Phone, jewelry. He moves in close, catching the tang of wine-scented breath. He pictures shoving her back against the concrete wall so the whole length of him is pressed against the whole length of her, and his knee is pushing between her trembling thighs, and his free hand is kneading the soft, useless flesh. He pictures her face draining of blood and the metal pressed against her cheek. He can almost smell her sweat-drenched terror. "Oh," she says. "I see. I guess I should have taken a cab. Anyways, cash, I don't have much. My phone's like a decade out of date, and I don't wear jewelry." She reaches into her bag. Usually he'd grab it off her. Who knows what she might have in there, because they do that sometimes, women, girls. They carry sprays of stuff or scissors, thinking themselves clever, not thinking how it might be turned against them. Only this time, he just watches. Her purse bulges. "I've got a couple of notes," she says. "Do you mind if I keep the loose change?" Usually he takes the lot. They plead to keep their keys, as if he cares that they'll be stuck on their doorstep at 2 a.m. with all that coziness locked away inside. He grabs the notes from her, and the watch, and the phone, though he didn't ask for it. He turns and runs. Above, it blusters cold, and he thinks of heading for that all-night grease joint, only he's not hungry. He looks at the watch, its pink strap and hard-patterned dial. A down and out sits huddled under blankets, a hair-braided sponger type, cross-legged like some Buddha, the type whose clothes will reek if he gets too near. "Any change?" the type asks. He's smiling. Not a real smile. A muscle-aching, kiss-your-ass smile. He thinks of the way the woman smiled, as if he didn't hate him. Open, defiant, fearless. Like his sister way back. Way back when Mom's blockhead boyfriend got home red-faced drunk and fist-tight angry. And Jez was nothing but a sniveling kid, but his big sis was standing up for him. Way back before he learned to act that way too. He tosses the watch into the gutter. His fingers finger the notes. They feel grimy. Not his. Not properly earned. He shoves the notes into the begging cup. He keeps on walking. Rebecca's hips sway as she walks into Dr. Linda Frobisher's office. Linda has been treating her for 6 months now. Linda listens as Rebecca recounts her encounter with a mugger. Rebecca's lips turn down comically as she finishes her tale. Linda's file tells how her patient's attitude is excessively and inappropriately forthcoming. Her condition is rare and elusive. Test results indicate no motor or sensory impairment, no deficits in intelligence, memory, or language function. Linda jots down tidy notes. Rebecca is outside the usual scope for behavioral therapy. There has been no noticeable improvement. "What was I supposed to do?" Rebecca says, eyes wide with trust. "Well," Linda says, "a normal response would be to scream and run." Usually, Linda deals with anxiety disorders. The face before her is serene. Rebecca lacks what other patients have an excess of: fear. "Would screaming have helped?" Rebecca asked. Thank you.